All right. So apparently, Leaflet is apparently got a project in hand that is actually really interesting to me, right? Okay. Now YouTube, the YouTube fucking person counter is up on Pro Chat. Let's see. Leaflet says, I'm making a program that is a bridge between PNG tubing and live 2D. It's called Adventurer. You can make a model in less than 30 minutes and add new emotes in less than 5. I am personally totally down for this. Again, I don't think the AI is evil. I don't think the AI is going to take anyone's gerbs unless they're really shitty at their gerb, to be perfectly honest, in the art community, right? I'm talking very specifically about the art community. Even in the coding community, it's like, yeah, you know what? You're still going to need a human being to review the coding, right? All this replacing people with AI is a temporary affectation. It's not going to last. But the AI itself will actually just improve the creative process over time, right? So anyway, but yeah, as you can see here, I was like, I'm eager to see what can be done with this personally, right? So yeah, I can't wait to see all the anti-AI people fucking like seethe about this. But before we go through the what would you call it, comments, let's see what exactly this is, because I actually haven't seen this yet. So let's make sure this is all the way up. Okay. Kionella says, YouTube sucking today. I wish it would alert me on laptop. That's fair. Hello, Wasumyon. Thank you for the subscription. All right, so let's test this out.
Hey, what's up guys? Leaflet here. I'm making a new VTuber system that is between PNG tubing and live TD.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally what we just read on the thing, but fair enough, right?
And what it is it's a tracked model that only has specific states that captures your voice and your emotive state. And what it does is it allows you to be more expressive as a PNG tuber, and also allows you to do really, really cool emotes and do them really, really, really fast. So a little bit of context.
Okay. First of all, I'm just going to say, I think that this has banger potential, to be perfectly honest, right? I am a little bit finicky. I'm a little bit iffy about, again, setting up a web camera for VTubing purposes, right? But that being said, that's a skill issue on my part, right? Because that's how it would capture the emotions, right? But yeah, I could totally see over time someone developing a program to effectively do exactly that, right? To create particular states that are captured and then loaded as people move, which is effectively, honestly, how like live 2D works itself, right? You have all of these like possible states that are already pre-installed in a program, right? And then as it tracks your motion, it then just individually loads each individual frame as necessary, right? So it's not that hard to imagine. Let's see. Hello, Crimson Rain. Got a game you might find interesting to analyze? Lunacid. I'll check it out. Let's see. Kionalo says it's cute, but a bit janky. But it's a baby right now, so it's allowed jank. Yeah, this is obviously a test type, right, or a prototype. So there's obviously going to be kinks to work out. But as we've all been saying, AI is only going to be as bad as it's ever been right now, right? It will get better. There are probably there are probably caps to how AI can be developed in each individual field, just based on the nature of what it is. But I don't think we have really hit that particular limit, and I think some of those limits can actually be gotten around by properly understanding how to actually use the limitations of the AI to your advantage, which is a thing you learn as an artist, right? So
I can make these models in under an hour, including a bunch of emotes with them, and anyone can do it once we have the system set up. So the system goes like straight from concept. It has all of the tools like to key everything and to set up everything and to export everything. The system also uses
Honestly, so it's basically attempting to be foolproof, right? Which, to be fair, there will be a fool who somehow manages to fuck it up, i.e., me, right? But again, I really appreciate that they're doing this for the community, right? Because it's like there's a lot of people who would be doing VTubing, but the problem is that, to be perfectly honest, they just might not have the ability to make themselves a PNG because they just don't know how to use some of these programs, right? And they definitely may not have the money to get like a professional, what would you say, like model. Like again, I just rigged my model, like my PNG, up in like 5 minutes in like Illustrator. It wasn't exactly that hard, but I at least have a basic knowledge of how to use Illustrator, right? Because I came from a family of illustrators, right? So, you know, I kind of had a bit of an unfair advantage where it's like I can actually draw, and then I can actually just vector over with the thing I just drew. And yeah, I'm colorblind, so I'm not exactly going to pay attention to the fine color gradient detail. I'm just going to make this thing just be like a bunch of like bold colors, some of which I can barely see. So it's like, fuck it, why, right? Yeah, it's like, I do think that there's definitely a market for this. So I would pay for this, to be perfectly honest. If Leaflet like put this out and had it be a paid thing, I would absolutely pay for it, right?
It doesn't use GIFs. You can use GIFs, but we don't have it set up. We don't use GIFs because they're too heavy. Like they're way too big, and GIFs pull up people's computers. They're just they're too taxing on computers. So
yeah, I could see that. I could actually see that, right? Especially if you're working on a program that's being built from the ground up, and there's probably jank coding in there too, to be perfectly honest. Even some of the like professional equipment out there has jank coding in it that just doesn't need to exist. Hold on. Kianala says we need fools to break it to make it better. Exactly, right? If this gets better, the complacent separating that's needed for live 2D. Oh yeah. I think that the AI programs will eventually catch up. It's just figuring out how to get them to work together is the issue, right? So it's like it's just a thing that's like we may not necessarily have the ability to do it right now, but that's not because it can't be done. It's just because we haven't figured out how to do it. And Leaflet is on that warpath to figure out how to make the AI better than it's ever been before, right?
This is a completely different system that we have here. Anyway. So, as you can see, it does measure, like, my emotive state. So, if I smile, you can see that it will smile like this. And then my neutral, if I'm in neutral. And then if I frown, it will change, like, the state. And
I'm curious as to how it's measuring the emotive state. I imagine that it's a camera that they have to hook it up to a web camera. I would imagine so, because I don't imagine it's reading the voice, right? Because her voice didn't change, so it has to be reading her face through a webcam, which shouldn't be that hard for her to set up because like she already is familiar with using a webcam for VTubing, so the general principle is probably something she's already familiar with. She just made, and to be fair, the AI probably did help with some of the coding with this stuff too, because I remember Leaflet saying something along the lines of she can't stand coding, and to be fair, every person I've ever known who actually enjoys coding is a fucking psychopath, right? But, you know, neither here nor there.
like change state actually has a different speaking animation as well. So you can see I have a neutral speaking animation, I have an upset speaking animation, I've got a happy speaking animation, and if you're surprised, it even tracks your surprise, which also has its own animation, right?
Again, I do think this is going to improve over time, right? But the jankiness, there is a bit of a jankiness in here that I do agree with you, Kionella, but I would still be willing to get one of these myself, just because, again, I believe in the vision, right? And I do believe that over time, we will be able to get one where it'll be more effective at tracking the actual movement by actually essentially generating what would be equivalent to a live 2D model on its own, right? It'll still probably have some degree of jank. We'll have to go in there and like fix it up. But again, I'm not exactly against it. I actually kind of want that to be the case, right? So that just sounds like it would be fun. Coding is a headache, yes. Yes, I was told I would be a really good coder because I used to do logic as like a fun thing, but I was like, I fucking hate coding. I like doing logic as a fun, like, as like a fun exercise, but I'm not a big coding fan.
Not only that, it also tracks like if you you could do like a little facepalm emote as well, and it also.
I'm not gonna be doing a facepalm because, like, in order to do a facepalm, I'd have to, you know, especially like right there on the face, I would have to take my glasses off first, and I'm not doing that.
Also has typing, so you can typing makes a very distinct sound.
Interesting.
So you can rig it up to also check for typing. If you have problems with that, like if your microphone is near your keyboard or something like that.
To be fair, yes, and because of the way my desk is set up and where my keyboard has to be, it's pretty obvious when I'm typing, right? You can hear the fucking clickety-clacks ringing through the fucking table, right?
Now, to go on to emotes, it has a pretty comprehensive emote system. So it's got multiple types of emotes. So it's got some emotes that just play a straight-up animation. So I'll show one like that. I have a thank you animation.
Oh, that's really cute.
So that's like our first type of animation. And we also have a type 2 animation in which it transitions you to a state in like which you can either load new animations, but it changes your idle. So for instance, I've got like dance ones, right? Where if I hit like a dance, or we'll do 6-7. So I do like a little 6-7 here.
Interesting.
And it will just stay in this state basically infinitely until I decide to end it. There's also other ones that have emotes within emotes, and they can get really complicated. Like here, I'll show one here. Well, first off, I'll talk more about type 1 emotes.
So basically, you can put custom emotes in here, which is, again, something that I actually really would be, again, interested in to see what it can actually do, right? Because if anyone has seen the thumbnails on my videos, right, obviously there's, like, states that my character can get into on the thumbnail that they can't necessarily get into in my PNG tube character, which is fine. And also I do have a sneaking suspicion it's going to fuck up the characters on my you know, Chi-Pal, but that's neither here nor there. And I'd be willing to see if there's a way, because there's probably a way to get around that, because everyone else has figured out how to get around that when the AI fucks up with that. But yeah, no, I would love to be able to like open the third eye and like have that be like a state as well that would be just as responsive as the normal state without the third eye, right? Or again, the seven-eyed form that you sometimes see on the thumbnail is like, oh yeah, be able to use that, you know, pull the halo into there. There's all kinds of things that, like, if this gets off the ground, if you can highly customize it, I would absolutely love to do, because then it would give me like such a ridiculous, like, especially because again my character design is intended to be a shapeshifter, right? So there's already that where it's like I could just fucking leverage that. And again, I'm interested to see what the AI can do, right? I actually don't have anything against AI, you know, cultural production. I don't have anything against AI art. I still think AI art is art, right? I like to draw, but I also like to see what I could do with the AI. It's not that hard, right? You could do both. You can actually learn to prompt and to draw. Kionella says, I'm willing to try anything to see what it's like. Let's see. I'm planning on making a game for a friend and asked him if he was okay with me using AI. He asked for what, and I said coding and level planning. He was like, okay. He was okay with it. Yeah, and basically everyone is okay with it, and when they say that, basically everyone except for the hardline extremists are okay with the coding for AI. AI coding. What the fuck is going on? Hold on. What do you mean stream finished?
One eternity later.
Who did I piss off? That's a good question, right? That is a good question. I don't know who it is, but I'm gonna piss them off even more if they keep doing this, right? Alright. Let's get back to this shit.
So you can rig it up to also you can rig it up.
Okay. I think we're a couple minutes in.
hit like a dance.
Am I the other songs? No, it's just I usually put the alt version up when I think both versions of the song are good. But usually when we get to the point where it's like the song cuts into like 13 to 16 minutes long, it gets to the point where it's like, okay, both endings are usually not equal, or it's like I can usually make a pretty clear delineation of which one I prefer. I only really have alt versions when it's like really close.
Or we'll do 6-7. So I do like a little 6-7 here. And it will just stay in this state, basically, infinitely, until I decide to end it. There's also other ones that have emotes within emotes, and they can get really complicated. Like here, I'll show one here. Well, first off, I'll talk more about type 1 emotes. They can also have sound. So you can add a bunch of these ones that have sounds.
Huh. Interesting.
And you can do a lot of really fun things with it.
Nothing ever happens, eh? Yeah, well, it's crashing again. Here we go. We're at nothing ever happens.
They're really great for doing AFKs. So if you need to go AFK, you just be like, peace out, chat.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then you can press it to come back. However you set it up, really. And then we've got things like this that completely change your idle state. And as you can see, I can talk in this. If I stop talking, it'll also stop talking.
Okay, so this is actually doing exactly what I would have wanted it to do in this situation.
These things you can actually connect other sub emotes to as well. And then it has a little it resets as well if you press it again, just depending on how you set it up, if you would like an outro animation for that. And they can get pretty complicated and pretty long. Like you can kind of shift positions as well within the canvas.
We live on stolen land. No!
Okay, I don't think I'm doing that, right? I'm not doing that as an emote, right? Oh my goodness, but I get the idea.
So you can do all sorts of really, really fun stuff.
Oh, she got a transformation now.
And this one also has its own talking animation as well.
Okay, YouTube is back up.
And it's really fast to switch models as well. So we're gonna switch over here to one that I made.
Oh shit, she's got a Warhammer one.
Playing Warhammer Darktide with my friends, and again, that's like the coolest thing about this is that you can.
I was gonna say this actually is a really cool thing because then again, custom, especially if your character is a shapeshifter, you know, the example here, right? Then yeah, that would actually be really useful. Granted, I need to get like 3 different versions of the design. One the very small, one the more normal proportion, and then the other one like the more Gleeman style cosmic proportion one, right? So, but yeah, it's pretty obvious why. Again, this would. As much as people want to pretend like they hate AI, a lot of these people are grifting. They don't really care. But even the people who hate AI are going to definitely have to be able to concede begrudgingly that the ability to have custom, you know, avatars for particular games is going to actually be something that's going to be really fucking useful. And you're not going to have to spend $10,000 fucking dollars every time you need a new avatar, right?
Spin up models really, really fast. For if you are, you know, you're doing like a collab, or you're doing games with your friends, and you want to have like matching. You want to have matching models. You want to have matching, like avatars. You can do this as well. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do here with that. And also they're really cheap to make if you're to compare them to, you know, Live 2D model. For people that want a little bit more than a PNG, but then they're not really ready to make that leap to
Yeah, the thing about the live 2D model is that there's obviously two different metrics of cost analysis here. Like, the first one is just going to be the amount of time you take to make the live 2D model, right? Even if you decide to make it itself entirely, right? That's still a decent amount of time that you have to actually set up the entire thing. Because, like, all you have to do is watch a Honey Goblin stream to see how much time it actually takes to create a VTuber model in something like live 2D, right? In all honesty, if you want something that can be like more quickly modified, a 3D model is more effective than a live 2D model. But live 2D models usually look better than the 3D models. Although some people have really good 3D models. And then this one, again, it's like, obviously, as like a time, this is easier to work around time constraints with this than it is with the live 2D model. So even if you prefer the live 2D model, this would still be a benefit. And also, the thing is, again, just monetary values. This is going to be way cheaper, right? So it's going to cost less of your actual, again, time, productivity, availability, or like people's belief in your work, you know, translated into physical dollars or like whatever currency you're using. Firestorm Cabot says, I would have two versions of a spring, summer, and a fall, winter, so to be able to switch easier would be nice. That, you know, fair enough. That's a good point.
VTube Studio, or they just want to make really fast like models for all sorts of little fun stuff, or something more comfortable because
yeah, because again, not everything needs to be equally as intentional as well, right? It's like there's no reason why you couldn't have a main live 2D and 3D model, but then like for collabs, possibly use a like one of these AI systems in order to enhance the collab, right? Like there's an obvious place. Even if you don't like these, they wouldn't prefer not to use one of these. It's still useful for someone who doesn't. 3D models have their own problems. It just depends on how much time you want to work on. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's entirely true. Like, right, it's like tracking drift is one thing that is definitely an issue with 3D models, especially if you use like the slime trackers. The slime trackers are cheap, but they also work, generally speaking, but they're subject to drift, and they're not as precise because they use internal, because they calculate position internally, versus, for example, something that uses from like a station, like a tracker from the tracks from the outside, right? I forgot what they're called, but like, you know, one using a station. Those tend to be more precise than the slime, than the ones with the internal trackers, but they have their own strengths and weaknesses.
they are a lot easier to puppet/pilot than a live 2D, so it's really up to that. And you can see that they all have, and you can really set this up however you want. And they track your emotive state as well. And it's just really great for like kind of doing neat things like going AFK. Just very, very cool and interactable. And like I said, I made this for Warhammer.
Again, you can't look at this and tell me that, like, yeah, sure, even if you don't like the jank in it, right, which I find is fine, that doesn't really bother me, but like, even if you don't like the jank in it, you can't tell me that there's no utility in this particular program, right? I think Leaf could potentially charge good money for this, to be perfectly honest. And even good money, she could probably make good money off of this, even if she doesn't charge that much for it, right? So let's see. Keonalo says, and kicked me. That's fair. Well, lost contact.
And just to show kind of one that I made for my friend. This one I made for my friend's tabletop session. So she was playing TTRPGs, and if you're looking for one, rpg.angelsword.com is a game that I work on. It's called Angel Sword RPG. Very good combat in the system. So if you're interested in that, come check it out.
Yeah, this looks like the very natural advancement of like the way that Keen does his streams, right? With his avatar.
Free to play, by the way. So me as a tabletop player, these kind of things really help me.
If she made money, she would make, if she made money, the money she would make, she could hire actual programmers. I mean, yeah, she probably, well, it depends, right? I have a sneaking suspicion a lot more people would just you buy this thing to play with it than would actually use it for any real purposes, right? But yeah, she probably could, to be perfectly honest. And even then, it's like, well, it kind of depends. You don't really need a lot of programmers for this. Maybe just, if you want a professional programmer, one professional programmer would probably be fine, just to, again, double check the AI. But I don't know that I would do that if I actually had, if I was making money off of this myself, right? It'd be like, why would I go to a human being who's probably gonna have to know my actual name, right?
To get kind of more on the mood, get me more in character. And so this really helps out a lot with that. You can add really cool things, like my friend has this, like an item that's really important to her character is a memory bubble, and she's got a little emote where she can bring it up and like kind of look at it, you know.
Interesting.
Remember the good times, you know. And you can
Lads, we must ponder the orb.
really do a lot of these custom things with your characters for tabletop games. And again, it's like I said, you can make this for your tabletop characters something that would be completely ridiculous to do with like Live 2D. And it's a lot more interactive. You can have some cool game mechanic stuff as well for your characters, and it really does makes you feel a lot more like you're in character, which I really like. So she has a staff weapon. She is like a battle mage. So it's got like a little toggle to pull it out, and she can.
Animation was a little wonky there. It was going backwards, so like the actual movement line should have been in the opposite direction. But again, this is all a learning curve for the AI itself, right? Do you think it's in collab with Malcolm's RFab AI? I genuinely don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case, because I think when Leaflet was talking with Malcolm, if I remember correctly, about these kinds of things, right? They talked about collabing to create new AI programs as well. So this very well could have been one of those things that came about from this. I'm not entirely sure. I don't really keep up that much with Basecamp, but I've been getting back into them recently.
Do little spins with it, just if you want to do something fun. And then when she gets into combat, this is actually an ability that her character has.
Fair.
You can see that it actually does still have a talking state, so she can talk like when she's ready for battle, like this, right?
I'm kind of surprised that
So
sound
you
isn't
can have,
trademarked.
Like, states within states, because you can see like she
Or
pulls
copyrighted.
the staff out, and then the staff itself has another animation set within it, like the container of it, right? So you can really use it to really customize and do a lot of really cool stuff. And then you can put it away to go back into your neutral state where you have a lot of your emotes.
Hold on, was that?
And then you can put it away.
Okay, this one's going in the right direction. Okay, it looked like it was going in the wrong direction last time. This time it's going in the correct direction.
To go back into your neutral state where you have a lot of your emotes. And you can, again, control a lot of these just with your expression, just your face. And what you're going to want to do when you get into it is you're going to want to...
Because he was working on AI to generate VTube characters. I mean, yeah, this was basically going to happen, and for quite a while. Like, you got to remember that, like, Pipkin Pippa, she didn't exactly have an AI for this per se, right? But she did generate a whole, like, VTuber agency, right? Using AI, specifically novel AI, to, like, create the general concept art and the character background lore and the story and all that stuff. So this idea was going to be eventually something that took off, right? I, for one, welcome the AI overlords, right? Assuming that the AI overlords aren't communists, right?
Everyone's face is different. You're gonna have to really fine tune it to like what the values look like when you're smiling, when you're sad, you're surprised, when your face is normal, as well as like your mic threshold and like your crossfades, depending on your character. You're gonna want to test it. And it also has SFX volume as well, so you can actually control that. And
Ooh,
with
nice.
streaming in mind, so You know, if you
Okay, yeah. So that is actually
can
backwards.
actually control that, and you know, I made it with streaming.
Yeah, because you can see that she's spinning it clockwise, but the motion blur indicates it should be moving counterclockwise.
In mind. So, you know, if you have you know, a really loud animation sound, you can mute it, and you can also just lower the volume.
The Quango fears the leaf. That's all I gotta say. Yeah, I can actually see a lot of really interesting things that can be done with this that aren't being talked
Anyway,
about
I'm
right now.
working on this, and I'm planning to make it fully online, and we'll see how it goes. I'm pretty busy this month, so I don't know when I'll have it done. And a lot of people have been asking me about it, which is why I made this video.
That's entirely fair, right? You got to keep the people informed about how things are going in the production of your, the things you're making. Lightsaber staff, right? Oh my god, yeah. I mean, to be fair, it is basically a glaive, is it not?
I'm gonna try to have it done in the next couple weeks, at least to a point that it's available for most people that want to try it out. And I'm gonna just release it probably for free. And if anything, I'll probably have some premium options for people that want to host it online. If you want to use it just like now, people use reactive images where you can just have it up on the website and everybody can put it in their browser source. And really the goal is to have it so that you can have like your entire party, like, you know, 4 to 5 people on screen, all with these really, really cool animations, like using them to...
Absolutely, that's what I was talking about.
Have a good time. So that's kind of the idea behind it. And I hope you look forward to that. Anyway.
Oh, I definitely am. I'm excited to see what, again, I'm excited to see the things people are actually going to come up with and use AI for in the creative community, right? Because the reason the left hates AI isn't because of the threat it poses to the human spirit. It's because of the threat it poses to their ideological project, right? Let's see. Ain't a glaive a 2-pronged spear? It doesn't have to be 2-pronged. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, the thing she had earlier is effectively a spear, right? It is basically a blade at the end of a stick, which is the fundamental nature of a spear, right? Like a naginata is another thing. Like that would be like a Japanese glaive, right? So it's not necessarily 2-pronged. This is a fucking peak reference to fucking Lord of the Rings. After all, why not? Why shouldn't I also become a VTuber? Everyone after Lee finishes this program. I mean, why not, right? Like, take back your fucking anonymity. I really want anonymity, people caring about their anonymity to come back, right? We're too fucking, like, eager to share everything with people we don't know for no goddamn reason, for some reason in this culture. Ember Paradox says, this looks amazing, could be an absolute game changer for VTubing. Yeah, I think it will be, to be perfectly honest, right? Because, yeah, sure, you're going to have those little animated emotes in because you're going to see, like, the people who hate AI, right, are going to, in the mainstream VTubing community, and they're going to have these, like, again, the standard old thing that we have earlier, where it's just, like, you might have, like, a little animation GIF for when people are talking, right? But then, like, the actual the AI VTuber is going to lean into the increasing degrees of ADHD by making sure your brain is always saturated with dopamine and serotonin by the things on the screen always moving and changing about what they're doing, right? we gotta hack the brain. We gotta make sure we drill our way into their neurology, right? Maria Grace VT. By the way, I actually saw this person's debut when it happened. Like, whoa, this is really neat technology. It just needs some smoothing out and polishing it. It will be an amazing tool to get around the super high cost of VTubing. And to be fair, you could probably take the files individually and, like, clean them up if you can do some, like, editing in Photoshop and Illustrator or like in Clip Studio or any of these other things, right? If you really wanted to, you could probably break them apart into frames and then, like, recompile them yourselves. So, like, it is a thing you could do if it was really that important. But again, I think that these things will get better over time. Let's see. Emerald Apple says the most I've ever done with VTubing, quote unquote, was Vroid model with a generic 3D avatar. I did it for YouTube videos a while back for some AI tutorials I did. Something like this would definitely be fun to do. Can't wait to see how the project develops. Agreed. And here we go. I mentioned him earlier, right? Helping the people and enraging quangos at the same time. A wonderful tool. How do you do it? How do you keep doing such amazing things? How incredible. Well, she actually answers this in one of her videos, right? She doesn't make excuses. She just goes out and does things, right? It's like a Torch Wolf. Nah, you can't just help small creators like that. It shall be a feature you get after a trial of death. You have survive a FFA and a game of Angel Sword TTRPG with a character build that is the character you embody / want to. God damn it! Live GIF tuber. Mizuki's on this. Amazing Leaf. I wonder though how heavy it's going to be comparatively. For example, with VTube Studio software, that's where the fine tuning. Oh, that's where it's like again. It depends on how the coding goes, right? GIFs blow up people's computers. Couldn't be me. Yeah, I kind of figured she was talking about about Keen, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. So, yeah, long story short, Brewer says, well done, Leaf. You have inspired me to branch out into this part of the AI generation. Now I just need to get the energy to actually act on it. As always, you are an inspiration. Agreed. Just... It looks like Gleeman's got some ideas, right? Zayla. It's like really something VTuber tech has been needing for a long time. Yeah. Again, people are quite excited about this, right? Simply John, Iron Tiger. Let's see. I don't know. Do I know who Commander Tito is? I do know who Commander Tito is. Okay. Arc Dev. Fucking the Toxican Mexican awoo, right? You got DJ Nathaniel, Eustace the Useful, Kyle Whittaker, Mind of Raw, Happy Harble. Just like, again, the whole community seems to be interested in this for, obvious reasons. This is absolutely something you could make your money's worth on, right? And it says it's going to be free. So, the free bit, right, is definitely going to help, right? Because people presumably want to be able to also make content that they can eventually monetize, right? There's nothing wrong with that. So if you can sharply cut down the cost in doing that, you make this particular project more likely to be something you can actually livably do, right? Because I guarantee you there's creators out there who can actually be creative and entertaining, but they want a VTuber avatar to keep their privacy. Oh my, perfect timing, right? Oh my god. Speak of oh my god. Right when I was reading off the comment section, right? Free sounds too expensive, right? Clearly we are the product, right? And in the case of Leaflet, yeah, we are the product, right? Even if it makes it free, the product is, again, just the production of new culture. Literally the production of new culture is the payment in this particular case, right? Dr. Insanity says part 4 of the Bricks and Minifigs is out. I will watch it tomorrow. So yeah, I am very excited for this particular project. I can't wait to see what people are going to actually do with this. And I think this is an actual godsend to the community, to be perfectly honest. Just as you mentioned me too, right? Truly the synchronicity, right?